Welcome, you folks. We're glad to have you with us this afternoon. I'm Don Snow. I'm here in St. George, Utah, and this is the Tuesday, the 20th of April of 2021, and it's 3:30 in the afternoon Mountain Daylight Time, and we're going to talk today about computer health. This is part two of the series. On today, we're going to be discussing viruses and malware and email and the problems that can arise from that. There are notes online, and Gerhard will post in the chat, both on the Zoom chat as well as in the comments on Facebook. If you're watching this on Facebook, either now or if you're watching it later, there will be links on there. And the link down at the bottom, across the bottom of the page, is where that's my website, and that's where all the notes are for all my classes, including this one. Let's take a minute and talk about what these notes are so that you'll see what's there. So you don't need to write down stuff yourself, because all the details are there and we won't have time to talk about all the details. There's the link again, the same link that you saw before. I'm going to hit, let's see, Windows tab and go to, come on. I guess it's Alt tab I need to go to get down here. Okay, let's see, right here. This is the my class notes page. That's where that link takes you. And that's where all the stuff is stored on here, articles and all that sort of thing. And as you scroll down a little bit, here's the classes coming up. And this class it's class number 1 that's listed here. There's today's date, the 20th of April of 2021, computer health part 2, viruses and so on. Anything that's underlined here is a link, and so the notes will be there. I have not written the notes yet for the next class, which is 2 weeks from today. That's part 3, and then we're going to do one. The class in the second class in May will be on city directories. There's an old set of notes in there now, links. As you scroll down, you see all the past notes, and I'm going to be talking a little bit today about some of the notes that we did in the past class, the second class, and in this section, which is it's item 3 down here on this one, the computer health part 1, because we talked about 2 programs there that are very helpful in what we want to talk about today. If you click on that thing right there, today's notes, it takes you right to the notes page, and I've already opened it up, and here they are. This is on my website now. This is the computer health part 2, viruses and malware and email, and that's today's notes. Now, I just updated these late last night, because I thought yesterday afternoon, I thought somebody'd ask me questions Sunday, and I thought, oh, I read out and discuss that too. So these are last minute notes. There's the abstract, and as you just take a quick look through here, and then we'll come back and look at these more in detail later. There's the welcome and the introduction, and there's my email address if any of you want to get in touch with me later on. The series of classes on computer health, this is number 2 on it, and here's on class 1, which we did. It was actually a month ago, because the one 2 weeks ago was on the Roots Tech Connect website with all the stuff that's in there. But we talked about operating systems and hard drive problems and so on. This is part 2. Then part 3, which will be in about 2 weeks, is either 2 or 3 weeks, whatever. I think we decided on the second Tuesday in May. It'll be on backups, both online and offline backups. There's programs that were listed there in part 2, so you may want to go back and find the links to those. This Bellark Advisor, which we'll talk a little bit more about today, and also this Glary Utilities. They're both free for private use, and they're extremely helpful in a lot of different ways. Here's a section on viruses and malware, giving you some information about what's going on with all of that. And we'll look at this in more detail later. First of all, it starts with a program called Defender. That's built into Windows 10. Now, there was a separate program that was like Defender, an antivirus program that was in earlier versions of Windows. But if you're using anything earlier than version 10 of Windows, you're asking for trouble, because Microsoft is no longer updating anything before Windows 10. That means that if you're using Windows 7 or even XP before that, or 8, or any of the other Windows versions, once somebody finds a flaw, a way to get into it, then all the bad guys do is they just search on the internet and find who's using Windows 10 or 7 or 8 or whatever the earlier version was, and immediately log into their computer and download their problem stuff for it, because they know that Windows that Microsoft is not updating those earlier versions of Windows. So you may not want to. You may have said, "Oh, I don't want to update to Windows 10 because it's costing, I don't know what it costs now, about $100 or something." But boy, if you lost all your programs and all your data because of not updating, that would be cheap. It's like insurance. You hate to pay for insurance until you need it, and then you're glad you had it. Anyway, that's Windows 10, and that's in a program that's in their Defender. There's a couple of other things in here that I added. Item 12, to check on Defender on your Windows to see if it's running and turned on. There's the way to do it. Or to check other antivirus checkers to see if you've got something else running. We'll come back and look at these in more detail afterwards, but there's other stuff in here that there are ways to test on this stuff. Item 15 is about Malwarebytes. That's a free program for private use, and it helps. And I run that periodically. By periodically, I mean every couple of months, something like that, just to clear out stuff, because it helps to find errors and problems and stuff that might have gotten downloaded that my other programs, my antivirus program, didn't pick up. And let's see, I think I mentioned earlier about that, the Glary Utilities. That has built into it a spyware remover. It's not a complete antivirus, but it does have a built-in spyware remover, and that helps. And I run that on a regular basis as well. So we'll look at some of these programs a little bit later on. Ransomware. If you've ever gotten hit with ransomware, or if you know somebody who has, it's painful. What they do is the bad guys lock up your computer and they say, unless you send me a credit card with $500 on it, or $1,000 or something, I'm going to delete your whole system. And you're going to lose all your data, the whole thing. If that happens, and one of my neighbors right here in St. George, that did happen to them, and they paid to get it back. But if that happens, turn off your computer immediately and unplug it from the internet, and have some expert look at it, because the experts can usually take care of it. Now, I'm not an expert. I don't know the details of that, but it will pay you in the long run to get that taken care of. You may be able to go back to a restore point earlier, and the expert might be able to and restore what you had before. You may have to reinstall a couple of things, but probably not too much. But don't leave it on, and don't pay. Yeah. Then, was that a question that somebody had? No? Okay. New malware programs come out all the time, and here's a bunch of helps, various things that YouTube tutorials and articles that you may want to read sometime if you want to get into it. Problems from email. We'll take a few minutes and talk about some of the stuff that comes in from email and the problems, and ways to avoid some of the problems that happen there, and then the conclusions. Okay, now let me go back to our slideshow here and talk about these the programs. The two free programs that were from before that we discussed last time, actually it's a month ago, is Bellark Advisor and the Glary Utilities. Now, Bellark Advisor is a free program. Remember, those of you who were with us before, that program will take a look at everything that's on your computer, hardware and software, and it will go through and give you exact specifications for everything that's on there, including all the license keys for all your stuff. And one of the sections on there is, what do you have in virus protection? Now, let me log on and show you. Let's see if I can get to my desktop and show you what it looks like. Let's see, where do I get to? Not that one, but this one. And then do a Windows D, and right here is a copy of the the thing I saved off about a month or two ago. I think it was just before when we were talking about that before, from Bellark Advisor. I just saved off everything this goes on for several pages, but I've had it open right here. Can you see there where it says virus protection?
Yes.
It says right there, Malwarebytes, anti-malware version, that thing, that's on my computer. The last disk scan was that day. And then down here, ABG antivirus, that's the antivirus program I run. It's a free program. For years, I used some of the pay ones, but and they're probably better, but they're not worth the money in my estimation. And so ABG antivirus is the one I'm running, and there it tells the details of it. And the real-time file scanning is turned on. So if you run Bellark Advisor on your computer, besides telling you all the other stuff that's in there, in the hardware and software, it'll tell you all the stuff that's in there, including all this stuff, virus protection that's already on there. So you may not know what you're running on your computer. So that might be something that you'd want to do. That's in that same program that we had from before. Now, the other program that we talked about before, the free one, was this Glary Utilities. And remember that did so many things, like it upgraded things and it checked the hard drives and it straightened stuff out and all kinds of good things on there. One of the things it does is it looks for spyware and clears that out. Let me go back and get to well, this will do, will it? Let's see. I want to get to my desktop again, and I guess that was. Let's see, which one of these will get me to my desktop? Will this one? Let me try it and see if I can get. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Here's Glary Utilities. I put these four icons right here in the center, the ones that I needed for the class today. I'm going to click on Glary Utilities and open that up and show you what this one will do on here. Now, this is the one-click maintenance thing. Remember that it shows over here. If you click on the overview, it took my computer 24 seconds to boot up this time, and it keeps track of all of this stuff. This is a free program for private use. If you're using it for a company or something, then you got to pay for it. But right here in the one-click maintenance, that's the center thing, and it usually opens up to that first. Right over here on the left, you can see where there's spyware removal. You see, I've got a check in front of that, and that says spyware removal. So once I run this thing down here, it goes through all of this stuff. It cleans out the registry and it cleans out all kinds of stuff. It's like the old check disk that we had before that we used to run years ago, which is still in there and you can still run it. But this thing I run, probably a couple of times a week. And I just click on here, run. It takes maybe a minute to run through everything on my computer. And then I've got it set down here so that it will automatically check the stuff, and automatically, once it finds the problems, then it will go through and clean them up. And we talked about this program before, because one of the things we used before was this deal down here where it shows you what programs on your computer need updating, and it gives you the update version and so on. But this I find really helpful because it gets rid of the spyware stuff. Okay, so that's those two programs, the Bellark Advisor and the Glary Utilities. Now, let's look at some demos, and let's go through some of those notes and actually see what you can do with some of the stuff. Okay, I'm going to go back up here. Here's the notes that are online, and if you use the online version, then all the links are hot here, so you can just click on them and it'll go directly to it. Here's the viruses and malware. Now, this is that Defender thing that I talked about. Defender is an antivirus program that's built into Windows 10. It's there, and it runs automatically unless you turn it off. But you can check to see what's going on. And there's a couple of articles here, and there's the links to the articles that talk about it. But you can check to see what's happening on your computer by going down here to the bottom, lower left-hand corner. Down here, see where it says type here to search. I'm going to type in here DEFENDER, Defender, and it jumps to everything that's on here with Defender. And the one that's kind of blue here says Windows Defender Firewall. It's what's called a firewall. Firewall is what prevents stuff getting in and out of your computer unless you say yes on it. So if I click on that, it opens up this part, this thing. Now you can also get there by going to the control panel. And so I put that in there that you get the control panel. It says that I'm connected right now to a private network. That's my own network here. I use the a cable modem, so I'm connected to that. Windows Defender Firewall status, it's turned on for me. And there are other things you can do here. You can turn it off, or you can do various other things from there, or if it's got problems, you can check them, and various other sorts of things. Now, so to check to see whether you're running Defender, whether it's turned on, it probably is, because it's an automatic sort of a thing. Just go down here to the lower left-hand corner where it says type in here to search, and type in Defender, and then click on that item, and that will take you to what's there for actually running and showing what is happening with Defender. That's item 12 on your notes here. To check for other antivirus checkers, that Bellark Advisor that we talked about, that will show them, but you can also do it by checking down here, typing in down in that same box, virus protection, and it will give you some information down here. I'll show you, virus protection. Okay, there it is. It came up, virus and threat protection. I click on that, and is that the one I wanted? Maybe it wasn't. I don't know. Anyway, there's one of them that will show you, and then it will show you which versions you have. There's a thing that you click on, the view archived messages. There's a go to system and security maintenance and security and maintenance, and then to view archived messages, and it'll tell you what you're updated, what's the last versions that you've updated to, and so on as to what you're using. I'm using this AVG item. This is item 14. Two good freeware antivirus programs are AVG and Avast. Those are the names of the two different programs. I've been using AVG for many years now, and there's where you can download it for no charge and install it on your computer. There's a bunch of others that are free that people usually say are good, but if you read some of the articles from PC World and some of the other stuff, they usually rate AVG and Avast as the near the top rating on all the free ones. So that's what I run. And down here in the lower right-hand corner, right down there, I don't know whether you can even see it, but down here there's a little up chevron, and that will have on there the details of it. It'll have one of those things will be where I'm running it, and you can actually see it and actually run the thing from there or check it. Whoops, I didn't mean to get out of that. Let me go back to Windows 10 and get back here. Okay, so now that's virus free virus checker, AVG, and I'd recommend you ought to have some virus checker. Windows Defender is okay, and it's free, and it's built into Windows 10, so it's there. But these others are free and will also help run it too. Malwarebytes is a program that my techie kids, I got two of my kids are computer experts, and they all recommend this Malwarebytes. Is that a question somebody had? Nope. Okay. There's where you can download it. It's a free program for private use. All these things are free for private. Well, not all, but most of them are free for private. But then if it's a commercial firm, then you have to pay for it. And so most of us are private stuff, so it's no problem. Malwarebytes, I run every couple of months, and it goes through and cleans things out, and it finds what the errors are and so on. I won't take time to actually run that for you, but it's on there on my computer, and I run it. There's that item 17 ransomware that we talked about. Turn your computer off if that happens. Don't pay for it immediately. Don't pay, don't give your credit card information and pay for it. But turn your computer off and take it to some expert to get your details back. Now, notice I put in here, you only need a backup of your data files, because the program files can all be reinstalled. And if you have their licenses, and remember, if you run Bellark Advisor and saved a copy of Bellark Advisor, you'll have a copy of all the licenses. So that's worthwhile doing. They'll be all in one place, and you can save that off. You can save that to a flash drive if you want to do, so it wouldn't be, or you could print it off if you wanted to. But the data files are the crucial things. The program files can all be reinstalled, but the data files, you can't, of course, get them back. New malware problems come out all the time. The bad guys are thinking of all these new things. And now with the coronavirus stuff, there's new stuff that they're scamming you with that. Here's a bunch of helps and tutorials, articles, and so on that maybe sometime you'll maybe want to watch some of these. Some of these are a little more technical than others, but most of them, I picked out ones that were understandable here, and that will give you some ideas, a lot more ideas than what we've talked about here. Now, let's spend a few minutes and talk about email. A lot of the problems come from email. And they're not always, but fill in the subject on the email so that people and you later will know what it is. I always send myself a copy of all the emails so that I've got one that I know what I sent out, and I can tell when it went out and what it looked like. Spam. The bad guys harvest email addresses and they sell them. And you can actually buy online thousands and thousands of addresses. They'll say, I've got for sale valid addresses that I got from a bunch of emails. You can buy the whole set for $1,000. And the bad guys do that and they sell them. And so if you can avoid getting your email address, something like that on those lists, why you won't get as much spam itself. One of the ways to avoid that is item 23 says the copy line. The CC is copy to. Frequently you want to send a copy to other people. But if you do that, if you put CC in there to other people, everybody can see everybody's email address. And that's where they harvest email addresses from. If you use BCC, that's blind copy to, only the addressee and you can see it. Nobody else can see that. And so they can't harvest email addresses from those. So when you're forwarding stuff on, you might want to think about, do you want other people to see those addresses or not? And if you don't, then send it BCC for the blind copy on there. And here's I don't know about you, but I get all these forwarded messages from things that says forward this to everyone in your address book. Almost invariably, if that's in there, it's a problem or a hoax. There is so much conspiracy stuff going around that check the stories before you forward them on, so that they're not just this crummy stuff that spreads like wildfire that you can't ever quit. Once it's out there, it's just hard to really ever get it corrected. There's a bunch of things that the Mormon Church has got, that the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, that people send out that are baloney, that they're not accurate at all. But people keep forwarding them on because they're inspirational or something, but they didn't happen. And it's just, anyway, just be careful. Just there are ways to check that before you send it on. So be careful about clicking on links and attachments, even if they seem to come from somebody that you know, because the bad guys spoof the address. It may not be from that person at all. There's one person that I keep, about every 6 months, I get another email from this person. It was a lady we knew in London when we were on our mission in London. And as soon as I see that, I know it's going to be something spoofed, or somebody that's wants me to click on some attachment or link, and they'll put some spyware or problems on my computer. Because I know I never get emails from this person, but they always pick it up because her email address is in my list of email addresses. And so they spoof the address. And it didn't come from her at all. It came from somebody else, but they make it look like it came from her. So if in doubt, don't click on it. Either forward it back to the person and say, is this real? Or phone them or something like that. And most of the time it's not real. It's been a spoofed message. That happened just last week with a friend of mine from here in St. George that we talked about. You might want to use an email address that you don't have to change very much. Many people just use Comcast or TDS or InfoWest or something like whoever their internet service provider is. But then as soon as you change internet service providers, you got to change that address. But you can get a free email address from most alumni associations, from colleges or even high schools will give you a free address, or Gmail, and so use those. Then you don't have to. You can read them worldwide without having to change them. But emails are one way that some of the stuff gets forwarded around. As a conclusion, viruses and malware are major problems and need to be worried about. Now, here's the summary. And so what we've looked at, we looked at some viruses and malware stuff, and check to see what antivirus program you're running on your computer, the one that you have. And there are free ones. There are pay ones too, but they cost money. There are free programs, a lot of them that will help you. And check your emails to be sure of what's happening with those. Now, that's the, let's see, that's a half an hour. And so let's finish and see if you've got any questions or comments that you want to ask now. And if you do, just unmute your mic and ask it. And there's my phone.
While you're waiting, Don, there was one comment over in the chat from Linda.
Yeah, Linda, I'm teaching my class. This is Linda calling from Guayaquil, Ecuador. Linda, here's the phone. That's Linda. We'll talk in a few minutes. Okay.
Yeah, I just
okay.
have a quick question. It's nothing emergency.
Okay, all right. I'll see you in a minute. Bye.
Okay.
Don,
Okay.
there's a comment from a Linda in the chat. She mentioned after I put up a note that I use Snopes.com to check out the validity of stories. She said, same with Facebook friend requests. If you're already friends with someone and get another request, reach out to your friend, as they could have been spoofed.
Oh, that's a good suggestion. Oh, I hadn't thought of that.
Not only that, but I was trying to type, but I'm on my little cell phone. This is Linda. Hi, Don.
Oh, hi, Linda. How are you?
So the other thing is I have a separate email for when I do all my buying online.
Oh.
So, because they sell their mailing lists. They get hacked, they get whatever. So I have one email address that I've had forever that is always, that's where I get all my spam, it seems like. And that's the one I use for all of my shopping online, for all of everything online, because, and I only give my other one to my friends and family.
Yeah,
so
that's
I have
a good
personal one, and I have a shopping one. And some people think, well, I can barely keep up with one, but it's a lot easier to keep up with two than to have one account, and it's so full of ads and all kinds of stuff you don't even care about then and trying to sift through. So it's just something that I do. But I've had several friends who have been spoofed on Facebook, and they've reached out, like I've reached out to them and I'm like, I'm still friends with you. Did you open another Facebook account?
Yeah, right.
And so then they have to be reported to Facebook that, you know, they have to report that that is a false, that like, that's not them.
Yeah.
And so, it can be scary.
Yeah. What I do is I never friend people on Facebook. I get at least 3 requests. Oh, probably 5 or 10 a week, but I never sign up for any. And I don't buy stuff online. My kids do for me through Amazon, but I don't. So, but your idea of having two separate emails is another good suggestion.
Don, another comment from Wayne on the chat. I plan to forward this lesson. It will be good for all my children to use with their computers. Thanks, Don.
Good. Okay. Yeah. All right. Thanks, Wayne. Good.
Don, I have a question.
Okay.
When you talked about having ISP provider email as opposed to a Yahoo, Hotmail, or whatever, some years ago, when you closed your ISP email, you could have those emails forwarded to a new email account you established. But I'm not able to find that service anymore. Are you?
It depends on if you're no longer, like if you're with InfoWest and you're no longer with them, you can't use that old account to forward anything. So
Don, what I think she's referring to is, for example, my X-Mission account does provide that service, but they charge a $5 a month fee for keeping your email active and forwarding it somewhere.
Oh, after you've quit.
After you've quit using them as your ISP. There are ISPs that provide that kind of a service, but usually for a fee.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah. But use a Gmail address, or the dozens of ways you can get free emails. There are also these disposable emails that a lot of people use when they want to subscribe to something, or not subscribe to it, but to buy something. They use a disposable email, so it evaporates after a week, and so they never get spammed from it because of that. I've never used one, but you could easily. There's many places that have those. Any other questions anybody's got?
I'll ask one more.
Okay.
On the PUPS, is there somewhere on the computer that you could get a listing of any of that's on your computer to delete it?
Let's see, like what, you mean a program to
right. I don't remember what the number was, but it was software, like junk software, or
oh yeah, there is. We talked about that the last time, so it should be in the last notes. Revo Uninstaller is a good one. Revo Uninstaller, that's the name of the program. It's free.
Okay.
Again, for private use. You'll find the details on, I think it was part 1 of this series. It'll list all the programs that are installed on your computer, and if you're not using them, then just click on it and click uninstall, and it will uninstall the whole thing for you.
Okay.
There is also an uninstall built right into Glary Utilities. It doesn't work as easily as the Revo and Uninstaller, but they update it on a regular basis, so that's another way to do it.
Okay.
Anything else? Well, if not, I appreciate all of you attending and being with us today. And in a couple of weeks, we'll be doing the part 3 of this, which will be on backups, both online and offline backups, and some ideas that will help you with that. So thank you for listening. Glad to have had you with us today.